Hello, morning. Warm welcome on our last webinar in Sales Manago, navigating e-commerce trends for 2025. Just before we start speaking about what to start, accelerate, we have a pleasure to host here the head of product marketing, Michael McNeil. Michael, are you there?
Yes, I am. Pleasure to see you this morning.
Great. And we have CMO from Lido, Greg, London.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good to be with you.
Okay, it will be also good to know if you guys are there for real. So if someone could share something on the chat, like just hi, or you can see and hear as well, it will be good. And of course, it's good to test this space now. Because it will be open through the whole webinar, not just in the end. And we will be ready to answer your questions. Okay, while other, okay, Jiri, the chat is disabled, but you put the question. I think we can use this space to communicate. While other people will join, we are still waiting for some more registered person. I think it will be good to spend a couple of minutes to get to know better our today presenters. So next slide, please, and start with Michael. I think you can tell a bit about yourself.
Thank you. So as Robert mentioned, I'm the head of product marketing at Sales Monaco. I've had a fun and interesting career journey that spanned both large companies as well as a number of startups and all sizes of companies in between. My role has been in everything from product development to marketing, product management as well. On the marketing side, I've spanned various domains as marketing's progressed, digital, e-commerce, loyalty, social, and direct. I've been fortunate enough to work with a number of large international brands. And currently, I'm based in Warsaw, Poland. I've been here about 6 years now, going on 7 in early 2025. Have traveled the world both for fun as well as for business. That's kind of one of my hobbies, one of my pleasures as well. And I look forward to sharing some of what I've learned, sharing some of the insights today, and getting to know everyone. Thank you.
Okay, next, please. And it looks like Warsaw looks quite the same, like Krakow, a bit dark, but I guess in Cardiff we have a better mood there. So, Greg, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. We're not famous for our weather here in Wales. So, morning, everyone. My name's Greg. I'm the head of marketing for a company called Lido, which is a MarTech platform. My background, though, is actually in marketing agencies. So I spent over 10 years in all different kinds of agencies, everything from PR through to quite technical digital ones. So I feel like I've worked with hundreds, if not thousands, of different clients over that time on different marketing strategies. Like Michael, I'm kind of from all over the place. So I actually grew up in South Africa, but like we've said, I'm based here in the UK. My partner, who you can see there, is Italian, so you've probably already noticed that there's going to be some hand gesturing even on the virtual webinar for you this morning. Lido is actually a Finnish business. We're headquartered in Helsinki, but a lot of our marketing and sales team is based here in the UK because it's a core market for us. And Michael will be pleased to know that deep down I'm secretly American because I love country music and I love American sports too.
Okay, that's great. Slightly small, a bit about me. I'm just a digital marketer in Sales Manago, and my role here is like to moderate mostly, but it might happen I will also like take some questions, which I count a lot of. As you can see, we have not very often the possibility to have the product marketing and CMO in one space with very different backgrounds. So I think we can handle things that you guys will prepare for us. Okay, so speaking about the webinar itself, we will not do something that everyone does during this part of the year. So we will not encourage you to just following the trends, but we will try to break these trends and find out what really makes a difference and where you can take your best efforts to make additional growth, and where you can try to leave the space because this efforts would be not very successful. Next slide, please. So we promise that we will handle free general topics. So today we'll speak about habits and tactics that should extend to the end of this year. Also, which data-driven insight will be most valuable from the beginning of 2025, and how businesses can stay competitive with AI-driven personalization. Next. Okay, so speaking about the habits and tactics, in human nature, we have this. We get used to something, and with that, we sometimes have a struggle a bit to leave a space which is secure for us. But certain processes and technology that have been cornerstone of your operations for years right now are being replaced, and you have to follow with a more innovative solution that reflect the changing landscape of the industry. There is like no other choice with that. Next, please. And we bring states that I think will bring us to the first one that we think we should stop on it. 59% of Google searches in UA in 2024 did not end with click. So I think that this is like just a teeny puzzle of bigger landscape where you have also SGE, when you have also the voice search and also rising cost of links. So the question is right now. With Google rolling out searches SGE in 120 countries, what implication does this have for current SEO strategies? And I think like Greg will explain a bit more in this area.
Yeah, so going back to my background, whenever I worked in marketing agencies and we were doing SEO or search campaigns for customers, for almost 20 years now, marketers have been able to strike kind of a deal with Google, which is that Google, you tell me how many people are searching for something, how many people are looking for a topic or a question. I will try and rank as highly as I can, or I will run paid ads, for instance, on the search to be at the top of those rankings. And I know that if I do that, if I rank in position 1 on SEO, or if I'm running a paid ad, I will collect a certain percentage of those searches. And that's kind of been the deal that we've been working with for 20 years. But what everyone on this webinar will have seen recently is that Google's increasingly cramming AI generated results and other things at the top of search engine results pages. So for instance, I was just doing some e-commerce searches this morning just to see this in action. And even searches that an e-com brand would have wanted to capture for years are being served with AI results first. So I searched, for instance, this morning for what's the best material for a warm winter sweater? And for the last 20 years, any clothing brand will have been able to get into those top 10 results and capture a percentage of that search. But what I was shown, taking up almost all of my screen when I made that search, was an AI-generated response, which told me what was the warmest material for a winter sweater. It did not reference or link to any of the results that were in the top 10 rankings. any brands that had built landing pages to talk about winter sweaters and talk about how great their sweaters are, none of them were featured in that AI block that took up more than half the page. And that's what we mean when we talk about SGE and search generative AI. Okay, that game, that deal that marketers have had for the last 20 years, where if I can get to the top of the results, I will capture a certain number of clicks every month. That whole game has been changed by AI. And what we're seeing with Google and other search engines now is that they are in a bit of an arms race when it comes to this. So for the first time in my career, I think, Bing made a genuinely industry-leading move a couple of years ago when they when they started incorporating ChatGPT into their results. Now, that wasn't because Bing are so visionary as a search engine. It was because Microsoft, who own Bing, bought OpenAI. So the moment Microsoft owned ChatGPT, they said to Bing, right, you're our search engine, we own you. We see this as the direction of travel. You need to start incorporating ChatGPT into your results. And all that meant for Google, by its own admission, was we need to roll out an equivalent to this, which was Bard, and now they're calling it SGE in terms of their results. So these search engines know the direction of travel. They know people are using AI in their daily lives. They know people are using co-pilots. They know people are now starting to use ChatGPT even as a search engine, and they see the direction of travel. Societally, we are all buying in to having instant relevant answers served to us through AI. And so search engines are going to take more and more real estate and give it to AI listings. And what that means is, like you saw in the stat, more than half of searches now are not resulting in a click. No matter how good your SEO is, even if you're running PPC ads, more than half of searches are not resulting in a click. So that equation, that math that you've done in your head for 20 years as a marketer, if I can get to the top of the results, I will get X number of clicks a month. That might not exist anymore for you.
Yeah, and
Okay,
Greg
that's
also,
changing a lot.
yeah, I was
Yes.
also going to add, Greg, I know there's a large generational component to this as well. I was talking to, one of my colleagues a bit younger in the workforce just out of university, and, he said that his first place to go to search is ChatGPT, right? That'll be replaced by Search GPT when it becomes generally available. But, Google wasn't even the first destination for him to go search for things, right? And so you're seeing it changing there as well. And then also, there's, certain things are becoming more, I guess, prevalent as it relates to voice search, especially on mobile, et cetera, where, traditional SEO hasn't been as strong and won't be as strong, right? So if you're just doing a voice search on your phone and then telling them to take me someplace, right, you're completely skipping out on that traditional SEO opportunity that existed for companies. You're going direct there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of get the ChatGPT one because I think ChatGPT is magic. So I get why people would use that, especially younger people. The one that always surprises me is how many young people go straight to like TikTok to do a search, or they just say, "Hey Siri, tell me about this." Like they are not interested in this, for them, almost antiquated idea of typing something into a search engine. And we as marketers need to adjust to that.
Yeah, and the format, like you mentioned, video, right? Video search, et cetera, right? It's not all about text-based search anymore.
Yeah,
All
and I
right.
think there's only one direction of travel on this. Like we say, is AI is, whether you like AI or not personally, and I have serious reservations about it, but whatever you think of AI, this is the direction of travel. Like Google has invested a huge amount in it this year. There's some research that sort of 15% or more of searches are going to have this AI generated answer at the top with SGE. So whether we like this or not, this is something that we have to deal with as marketers.
And one
Exactly.
other thing, yeah, one other thing I want to mention is as you have questions during the course of this, feel free to enter them in chat, and you don't have to save them all for the end. So we can go ahead and answer those as we're going through these topics here. So as you have things, please enter them, and then Robert will bring them to our attention.
Sure. Like we touched the problem. I think that's and this is quite a big problem for and have a big impact on e-commerces. Yeah. Even if you will like consider, like we see 59 or 59.3% is in UA, the similar number in United States, and in this 40% left, like you cannot like really expect the same result. And what is tricky, this coming not as one done action, but you are slightly reading off of valid traffic on your website, and you cannot like really progress with this. I don't know if you will agree with me, Greg.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways that marketers can adjust to this. So instead of just cramming headers full of keywords and pages full of keywords in the way that you might have done traditionally, there's a lot of research to suggest that if you can have sort of well optimized passages of text on your page that still answer a user's query or relate to the topic, but give very clear and simple overviews of an answer to a question, for example, that those still have a good chance to be referenced in an AI results that's served on a search page. But yeah, it's that game that I described, that deal that we had for 20 years, that has gone. If you look at it even 5 years ago, there were nowhere near the number of zero-click searches that there are now. And it isn't just AI. Google has increasingly crammed things like people also asked questions or passages of text onto result pages. Google is all it's trying to do is answer user questions as quickly as possible, because again, as a society, that's what we've come to demand of almost everything now.
Exactly, and also have a lot of spaces to redirect the questions to stay with Google. Like for example, YouTube or Google Maps. This is also happening in a background.
Exactly.
And with that, I think we should touch this 95%. The amount of traffic some websites misattribute as direct. So, Greg, I wonder why.
Yeah, so you might have heard, even if you're not into kind of technical attribution, you might have heard of this trend in marketing of dark social, which is the idea that people will see your brand, your links, your mentions on different social media platforms, but also just across the internet generally. And they might not click a link there and then, but they might come back to your site later because they remember seeing it or hearing about it. Or they might see a mention of you, say, on social media, and then they might go to your website directly. Now, Google Analytics would tell you that that is a direct session, but obviously that's come because they saw you mentioned on social media or somewhere else. And what we see for marketers is we have a whole bunch of factors that are making it really hard to accurately attribute the traffic on our websites. So GA4 moved from what was a cookie-based model to what's called an event model. And without getting technical, all that means is it isn't able to attribute the exact channels people have come from in real time in the way that it used to on its old model. And then we see things like dark social, and we see things like attribution platforms in general not being able to track lifetime and life cycle journeys of people. And all of it combines to create this situation where some people's websites, it looks like all the traffic is coming directly. Like some people will look at a marketing report and they'll see like 70 or 80 or 90% of their traffic is direct. But what say Google Analytics isn't able to tell them is actually a lot of this came from mentions on social or people seeing your links online in other places. It didn't come purely from the direct channel.
Yeah, and so the whole attribution game is changing there, Greg, right? As you're saying, right? And you have to really be cognizant of, where you're investing, not misinterpreting your data and really kind of making a conscious effort to engage everyone who does visit and does click to get to your site in ways that are very relevant to them.
Yeah, exactly. So this is kind of what Lidu does where I work. So as a platform, what we do is we help convert the traffic that's already on your site. but we also map it out and tell you what its life cycle journeys look like. So one thing that we notice, because a lot of our customers used to use GA4, for instance, and they used to see in their reports, like I say, huge amounts of traffic coming through as direct. But once they are able to delve into those individual users, yeah, okay, fine. The first session might have come direct, but what they then see after that is, okay, then they came back organically through Google, then they clicked on a remarketing ad, then they came back through another paid channel in the future. And without that kind of software or tech to really map what your customers' journeys look like, you might be looking at the wrong channels. You might be putting a lot of time and effort into channels that aren't actually as valuable through that journey as you think they are.
And money as well.
And money. Yeah, and money. We actually, what we've seen from quite a few Leadu customers is actually, because we have nothing to do with traffic acquisition. We're just about converting traffic on your website. And what we see from quite a few clients is actually the year after they get Leadu, their traffic actually goes down, not because of anything we've done, but just because they realize we're wasting quite a lot of money and time on certain channels that aren't converting, and we need to move those resources and that effort into channels that are already bringing kind of consistent traffic to the site.
Yeah, more about quality than quantity.
100%. Couldn't have said it better.
So it gets like business should be like optimizing for conversational queries rather. Do you think, Greg? Or
yeah, so what we see is to achieve your marketing goal, right? Like, so think about me. I'm a marketer. I'm a marketer at Leadu. Okay, the example I like to use is if I take all of my marketing budget for the year and I spend it in a week or a month, and I drive 1 million people to the Leadu site, I drive more traffic than we've ever had before, but none of them become customers. Did I do marketing? No, I failed. And to be honest, I'd probably be fired for doing that, right? So we as marketers, we tend to think, because it's something that we think we can control, we tend to think if I can just drive X number of people to my site, it will do what it normally does, and I'll come out with X number of leads or X number of sales. But the problem with that way of thinking is that traffic in and of itself should never be the ultimate goal of marketing. Like, the ultimate goal for you as a marketer should be leads and opportunities and sales and how you've helped build pipeline and opportunities for the business. And so if you only ever think about traffic, you'll be tearing your hair out trying to get traffic from all these different sources. We talked about how traditional SEO is getting harder, for instance, to get clicks from. But if you can just flip the number on its head and focus on your conversion rate, a lot of marketers see, actually, if I can just increase my conversion rate 0.5% or 1%, I can actually drive like thousands of less people to the site every month potentially, and I can still come out with more sales or more leads.
Yeah, and I saw an interesting question in chat, the question about would asking customers how they discovered your products or services help bridge that gap? Yeah, that definitely would help bridge, especially if it was customers that, ultimately converted, right? That's what you want to be able to connect the dots there. And then, that's also asking customers and engaging them in general, right, is a great way of gathering, first party data to be able to do progressive profiling and understand who these visitors are. So that can be one in a number of steps that once they get on your site, how to be able to gather more information and engage with them. So yeah, that definitely is a tactic you could use, is to ask them how they discovered your site, your products or services, as you mentioned in chat. So thank you for the question.
Yeah, and I'd say even further, just engaging them conversationally on a website or interactively is huge. Like, we often talk about our websites as our digital storefronts. Like, if you imagine a bricks and mortar store, you would want someone in your store greeting your customer, asking them if they can help, asking them if they want help finding certain products. We do that in our stores because we know it works. We know it leads to sales. Why wouldn't we do it on our websites too?
Yep, exactly.
great. And we had a great question. Just before we will leave this topic, just one thing I really wonder, like how you, Michael and Greg, imagine like the search engine evolve over 2025 and next years.
You want to start, Greg, or you want me to?
No, I was gonna say if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see the battle with traditional search now. If you look at traditional search, and this is what Greg mentioned, is they're trying to bridge this gap or cover this ground between displaying search results and listings, right, that are relevant,
Right.
providing you with an immediate answer to your question, taking up real estate as well. And then the third component is they're trying to get advertising dollars. So they have three different areas there that they're using that they're trying to optimize for, revenue, actual listings that you may be interested in, as well as just an answer to whatever your question is. So I think at least in 2025, you're going to continue to see this play out. There's going to be a lot of testing going on for them to figure out how that how that works best in traditional search, and then as it relates to SGE or as it relates to Chat GPT search, I think there'll be a huge rise in that in the coming year, in my opinion. But they still want to find opportunities on how to monetize that as well. But it will be more focused on answering questions as opposed to pure listings, right? And finding different ways to engage you, like I mentioned, voice or otherwise. So I think they definitely will have the traffic. It's more a matter of how will they try and monetize that, and how will that affect, attribution, engagement, and customer experience, or user experience.
Greg, do you agree mostly with this?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a new area for search and search engines that's only come about really in the last couple of years. They are finding this out. They are figuring out in real time what's the balance between those traditional search listings and, say, AI responses that people want. I think as it goes on and people get more used to AI and more used to those tools, the demand will mean that they increasingly show AI results in search because it's what people have come to want now.
Right. Okay, so with that, I think we should move on. Like, if which data-driven insight will be most valuable in 2025? So data-driven is become AI-driven, transforming how we analyze data, connect with audience, uncovering hidden patterns, predict trends. So it's right all about the choosing the correct application that can transform this insight into tangible values, and this will be the key part of a challenge. So with that, I think we can move. And surprising, we found more than 2,300 new AI native marketing technology tool introduced during this year. Really surprising. Well, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think, there's been over 3,000 tools introduced, so about 77% of them actually are native AI tools, right, in the MarTech landscape. So there's a lot there as it relates to these niche tools. And as much as companies are talking about consolidation going on in the space, right, AI, and there is in certain domains of the space, but in the AI space, you just see this huge proliferation of AI and AI-based tools, right? And so I think that makes it challenging in terms of selecting the right tool. But as it relates to, the analytics side, right, it's no longer about, just regular data analytics as you've been going about it. It's about kind of AI analytics, what that looks like. And then also these tools being able to act on the analytics, right? We didn't have that before, where you get tools and you could get a number of BI tools that would give you insights and everything else, but you'd have to take those insights and move them into a different tool and manually act on them, right? And what you're seeing now is you're seeing tools, chatbots included, where you can have these tools both generate the insights and go ahead and put them into a workflow and act on these insights for you, right? And so it's a very dynamic space now, and it's no longer about only having, excuse me, like data analysts or marketing analysts, et cetera, going through the data. It's being able to have these insights, act on them in real time, and be able to kind of deliver that value. And so it's not necessarily just a specific insight that you want to have moving forward into the next year. It's really about the fact that you need to move to, AI insights that are also actionable by the tools you have, right? And it can be in the native tool, or it can also be, something that can be integrated into other tools, but have it be actionable in time. Greg, I know
Yeah,
this is a space you're familiar with this stat, so I'll let you
Yeah.
speak.
exactly. I was about to ask because I think like 83% of executives like for me it was surprising because chatbots of course are important, but like that important?
Yeah, so it surprised me too. So we at Leadu, we have an AI chatbot. We have AI conversational tools. But even when we were looking into this research, we were quite surprised at this. So this comes from a HubSpot study, like a state of marketing report. And they asked executives to list out different uses of AI as like, are they relevant for your business or not? And chatbots and conversational tools came out as the most relevant use case. And that's above things that you would expect AI to take care of naturally, like data analytics or research or content creation, like things that we all know marketers are already using AI to help with. The most relevant use case from executives in businesses, they said, was we want these conversational tools on our website, taking care of not just customer service, but also lead gen opportunities and helping people through their journey on a website. And more executives said that was a relevant use case to their business than data filtering or data analysis or content creation or a lot of things that we think AI is kind of good at.
Direct, and this working. Um,
And
I
Greg, on
think
that, I think that people also don't realize they think of chatbots in many cases for being, initial tool for a landing page, initial engagement, right? But then it's really throughout the whole life cycle, right? Returning to the site, customer service, right? So when you think holistically about all the uses for chatbots, especially AI driven, recognizing customers, recognizing where they are in their life cycle, right? There's a lot of use cases there, not just purely, initial engagement.
Yeah, and like in terms of the case studies that I've done on customers who are using Lido AI, one of the things that they talk about, even if they're not kind of big multinational companies, is the ability for these AI chatbots to answer people in their language any time of day, anywhere in the world. That is something that you could just never dream of as a marketer or a customer service executive before. And the fact that anyone can have this on their website now, that unlocks an entire, you know, almost global ability to take customers through a journey in a way that you just couldn't before.
Yeah,
yeah, and
and oh, go ahead, Robert.
no, go ahead,
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah, I was gonna say, giving another example here of kind of, acting on the AI-powered insights, right? It's not uncommon now to kind of have a generative AI interaction, say, okay, what are my segments? Can I build the segments and what's that look like? And then, have say that, okay, based on these segments, engage and say what would be a great campaign for these, right? And understanding what that great campaign looks like, building a campaign brief, actually building the campaign, and then you come to the more common use cases is using AI for content, but using that content and applying these analytics that you got from your segmentation, from the campaign brief that was generated, and actually executing the campaign. And the campaign can be executed even with A/B tests, where AI will analyze the results of the A/B tests and adjust the campaign accordingly while it's in flight, right? And so it's not only helping with kind of the content that's really a common marketing use case, but also building the campaigns, building the audiences, executing it in terms of executing the campaign, and then paying attention, monitoring it, and even shifting like an A/B or multivariate test as well.
Yes, and then this is like a bigger part of a picture we have here applying AI. And it's a funny because I left this it was a buzzword for a few years, even if like ChatGPT was launched in 2022. I don't know. Probably you both will agree that we feel like a decade move from this point. And the main question here is like, how has AI role marketing evolved from being a tool efficiency to becoming the must-have for success? For sure, in coming year and by 2025, because this is something that already happened.
I think what you had with generative AI, right, a couple years ago. So everyone thinks about that, right? But really, When you think about, predictive AI and everything else, right? That's been around and been used for marketers to various degrees for, I was using it, dare I say, 2008 when I was at Toyota. But yeah, I mean, AI's been around, but now it's actually easily used, easily engaged with, easily available. Also, it's no longer the work of a data scientist, right? It's now something that's readily available to all of us. And like I mentioned, and like we talked about in these tools, it's readily available and easily used in all these tools. So it's not that it hasn't been around, right? And it picked up a lot of momentum with ChatGPT, of course. But now you can actually apply it, and you can actually apply it to have value, right? You're driving real use cases when ChatGPT came out, and even for the succeeding year in 2023, a lot of it was, okay, well, I'm going to integrate ChatGPT or use it for what I have. And it was a lot of Me Too use cases and companies checking the box. Now you can actually get value with it, regardless of what industry you're in, e-commerce or otherwise. And they're actually developing it such that you can build your own models, you can build your own engagement with it, right? And so there's real value here now, and you're getting real valuable insights specific to what you want, whether it's upper funnel, middle funnel, whether it's, post conversion. And so that's the big difference you're seeing here is it's not just a buzzword, it's usable, it's usable by everyone. It's not, like I said, a highly skilled person in terms of a data scientist. It's readily available.
Exactly. And with like over 20 a lot number of new AI marketing tools launched, and also a lot number of existing. What criteria should business use to choose the right AI tool for their, let's say, e-commerce operation? How they evaluate in a long term return of investment?
Yeah, I think, you have to understand what you want to do with it and what your use cases are. So what are you trying to do strategically as a business? Are you trying to, is it about acquisition? Is it about conversion? Is it about engagement? Is it about retention? Right? And maybe all of those to various degrees, but, understanding what that looks like and saying, okay, well, here's my particular use case. I want to do this in my vertical or with a certain product or a certain service, and understand how, what are your use cases, and then saying, okay, what tools are out there that can assist with this and assist with my specific use cases. So, and what's going to help advance my and deliver on my strategy, right? And so it's really understanding what you want to do from a business perspective. And then once you start using it, obviously it can help adapt and shift your strategy and advance that. But you want to come into it knowing what your use cases are, not listening to what they say it can do, because what they say it can do may not apply to you.
Yeah,
Greg, I'm sure you have some
regarding
thoughts on
this,
this.
yeah, regarding this, I think we have. Sorry to jump in, but
Yep.
we have a very good question for um, this topic that you mentioned. Um, Someone put the question on the chat. Are these solutions available for small to medium business? And do you have like specific examples of use?
Greg, do you
So
want to answer the one?
first of all, like the question is like if we are available for a small to medium business.
Yeah,
In my
so
opinion, yes. Yeah, right.
yeah, so I can jump in here. I mean, I know that both Sales Manago and Lido do work with SMBs, and I know that both of us work with small to medium businesses across loads of different sectors. There's what I would say for Lido as well is I've done a couple of case studies recently, specifically on Lido AI. I know I'm being selfish and biased here, but I've done that with small businesses in particular. So one was called Matrix Works, for instance, and the problem that they had was that they only had a two-person sales team trying to cover multiple regions in Europe, for instance, trying to sell to multiple territories within Europe. And what they are using Lido AI for on their website is, like I mentioned earlier, to be able to talk to customers in Italian or in Polish or in German, which this two-person sales team obviously can't do. And so that is a perfect example of a small business who's using AI to do something that they could never do, even if they, doubled their workforce. And so, like Mike was saying, it's about identifying what's your problem, what's the potential upside of an AI tool, and then finding one that does that niche. I think when AI, particularly when ChatGPT first came out, I think a lot of people were either in the camp of like, this can solve literally every problem in the world, or I'm not going to use it because I don't like it. And people tended to gravitate to those extremes. Whereas you can see from that number there, more than 2,000 native AI tools introduced in the last year alone. What we're seeing now is that these AI tools are being developed to solve very, very specific problems and use cases. It isn't just you buy an AI tool and that now suddenly you're an AI first business. You need an AI tool that has a specific use case. So, you know, if it's Lido AI, it might be about lead generation and customer service through your website. And just having an AI tool for that might help you solve a particular business problem that you've got.
Yeah, and regarding Sales Manager, I believe like Michael would say that that's about to taking step back and looking on the on your current business, isn't it? Like to match what exactly you are right now doing and what exactly might be the solution to growth.
No, I agree with you, Robert. Definitely.
Okay, so I think that that with Sales Manager, this is important part to place your business on the scale, realize what are like data sources where you are right now, how you are taking those data, what is like present execution, and where exactly you will need the support. If you are like reach the all possibilities of your actual stack that you are using, and where are the gaps to cover.
And many of these products that are introduced are catering just to small and medium-sized business or certain industry verticals. So they can be very, cost attractive, et cetera, and they know that market. And so the large players often will cater to the large and broad audience, right? When you start talking about, huge enterprise companies like Salesforce, Adobe, et cetera. And so just the opposite is you have these companies coming up that are tailored and groomed to be used by small and medium-sized businesses at very attractive price points and for certain specific use cases, as Greg mentioned.
Great. I think we'll move on. Like time is short already. We have to right now move to the something that is obvious, and AI personalization, and touch the dynamic content recommendation, sentiment analysis, predict modeling, AI-driven chatbot, and I think it will be good to start here um, with saying that 71% of customers expect to have personalization experience when shopping online. It's not like it's good to have; it's like must to have. And the question is how we can how we can respond with prepare for meeting this expectation of 71% of customers who demand the personalized online shopping experience.
Yeah, so for me, the key word there is expect. They don't want to have a personalized experience, they expect to have it. And you can see that the vast majority of people fall into that camp now. And again, all of those things that we've talked about earlier, whether it's AI and the fact that we're all using these tools more, people are getting used to having their questions answered and finding the information they need instantly. And so if your website isn't doing that, if your website is set up so that somebody who comes onto it has to filter through a lot of menus and click multiple links to find products or services that they're looking for, you are not serving them that instant personalized experience that you can see here that people expect. It's not that they want it, it's that they expect to get it, and they might not go with your business if they don't get it.
And I'll add to that, Greg, there's also the expectation that even if I'm not a customer or I'm not logged in, when I return back, right, I'd like to pick up where I left off and say, if I was searching for an outdoor coat, right, or a hiking jacket, I go back to that site, it'd be great to know that I went back. Maybe it can show me where I was before. I don't have to your point, go through the menus. I don't have to do another search and say, hey, here's the 2 or 3 jackets I was looking at. And even in an anonymous state, be able to do that. I mean, that's kind of an anonymous level of personalization, but still being able to say and help guide them down that path where they want to go a bit quicker, and they're not starting with a clean slate, when they go back to the site as well.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and
And
if I go back to the kind of physical store analogy that we used earlier, right? Remember, websites are our digital storefronts. And if I walk into a store and I have to search through every single label on the clothes, and I have to search in the back to see if they've got different types of clothes in stock, and I have to find out all the answers to my questions myself by reading all the stands and labels next to the clothes, that isn't a good buying experience. I need somebody there to answer my questions, to help me find what I'm looking for. If I have a question about returns or warranty, or do you have something else in stock that isn't visible here to me right now once I walked in the store immediately, I need to be able to have those answers. And we do that in our physical stores, but so often we expect people coming to our websites to just find what they look for themselves. And increasingly, what we see with the research is if people can't find that, they'll go and find it somewhere else that has it.
exactly. And we see here the level of the frustration where interaction aren't like tailored to the expectation that we have. Uh, what strategies can market and develop to address this problem? Like personalization, of course, but how?
Yeah, I think this goes back to a couple things we've talked about, and this is really, being able to get insights from all the data you have, right, and kind of aggregating all of it. So whether it's, where someone came to your site from, what they've done on your site, what their past purchases are, what they've searched on, right? It's being able to personalize like that. And, as it relates to the example I gave of going and looking for a hiking jacket, right? It's saying, okay, I bought my hiking jacket. I come back to the site in a month, right? And it can show me things that are personalized to me. They know they shipped the jacket to me when I was living in Seattle, Washington. So they can say, okay, here's the weather in Seattle upcoming, right? It's wintertime. It's getting cold by time of year. Do you want a hat that matches the jacket? Do you want this? There's various ways to personalize it, right? And to say, okay, or even stuff that's not transactional driven. I come back to the site and they can say, hey, we shipped your jacket to Seattle. We know that's where you probably live. If it's a outdoor product site, right? Here's hikes near you, etc. Kind of things like that. They can really be very personalized in a very easy way. For example, by knowing your geo, it can do weather, it can do other relevant things for you as well. And that's where you start establishing a relationship with the brand, right? And that's going to be good for the long tail, for the lifetime customer value and what you're looking for there. The fact that it's all about loyalty. Ideally, it's about advocacy. Where if someone asks them, "Hey, where would you go to get a jacket?" or "What was your experience here?" right? It's going to be something very positive. And so personalization, and being able to do that is really utilizing your data, using the AI we mentioned for insights around that, but also being able to deliver on that. And that personalization is going to be different for me or for Robert or for Greg for any number of reasons, based on our purchase, based on our locale, based on even, frequency of visit, frequency of purchase, all of these things. So, personalization can take many different factors, right? And when you say personalization 5 years ago, people were thinking first name, last name in an email,
Yes.
right? And we are, galaxies beyond that at this point in time.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but yeah, and so I think there's many ways personalization can be delivered, but it's far beyond just getting to conversion or getting to transaction or sales at this point, right? It's when we say life cycle here, it really is life cycle, right? And that doesn't, you're not a customer, you're no longer not a customer or not a prospect when you purchase. That's where your whole journey begins, right? It's okay, now I have them. And as everyone probably knows, right, the cost of acquisition is far higher than cost of retention, right? And so you once you engage them to any degree, whether it's with a conversion sale or not, you still want to be able to engage them moving forward in whatever way they want to be engaged, in whatever channel they want, right? In a way that's personalized to them, right? You don't want to lose them once they've made the effort on their side to come to your site or experience whatever the experience is that you're providing.
I'm just going to cut in here because there's a great
Okay.
question in the chat. I was going to ask you this, Mike.
Okay.
So do you think the approach to data privacy will evolve also in the coming years, i.e. the cost of personalization?
I mean, data privacy continues to evolve and advance, right? And this is globally, not just with GDPR and not just with what's going on other parts of the world. So it will evolve. I don't know that it'll be at the cost of personalization. I think what you're going to see, and you're already seeing, is the importance of first party and zero party data. And so, like, even like Greg's given examples about chatbots. When they do come here, engage them in a way and gather that information with progressive profiling, with other information that is available. And it goes back to, not quantity, but quality. So, being able to personalize, like that. You still can understand if someone a repeat visitor to your site. So you can know that it's not the first time they're coming to their site, right? That's not, going to change necessarily with any of the cookie laws because it doesn't, currently, let me say that, because it's not using any PII or anything else. It's really truly there, right? So it's more a matter of evolving how you do personalization with the data you have. And if you do personalization and engage them in these relationship building ways, they'll share information, right? There's been a number of studies that say if you're engaging with them in the right way and the way they expect, they're completely open, especially younger generations, to sharing more and more information with you because they know there's a back and forth there and a trade-off. If I'm able to provide some information, they're going to be able to engage me better. And I think that's becoming more prevalent and common. So I don't think data privacy is going to come at the cost of personalization. It's just how can you best engage to be able to get them to share that information, right? Before, with cookies, it was the wild, wild west, right? But with cookies coming to an end, right? And it's more a matter of, how do we best engage with what we know? And doing that will help, both parties, both the customers or prospects, as well as the company, have better conversations.
Right.
And thanks for the question. Great question.
Great question. I think like this is less also a part of a bigger landscape because we speak about side of business, but in the end, like customers or prospects, they really like to have like two-way communication and like choose preferences on channels and like especially what is important for younger generation, um, follow the same values and there must be a trust built here and this is like a part also like important to that's for example salesman I go cover with customer preference center. um, I think we are a bit at the end of the time, so I suggest to move into the Q&A section. It's still we have questions that will pop up for being answered. Um, I I think like this was like a very good discussion, Michael and Greg. I think that this we touch a bit of things that are important to the both side of business, also e-commerce and B2B B2B business. Um, and if we still have like a minute to sum up this. Do you think like there is a space here to connect somehow customer and needs with a solution like we are bringing into market? Is this like a
One thing,
advantage
Robert,
to?
there was one question in chat I wanted to see if we could get to
Okay.
before we ended. So the question from chat was if you had to pick one key consideration for marketers in 2025, what would it be? Greg, I will defer to you while I ponder this for a moment because I have a couple of thoughts and I want to land on one. So can you pick this up to start with?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So what I say to marketers is the cost of clicks, the cost of quality traffic to your website. There's a lot of factors that are making that really, really hard. So we've talked about a couple, AI in search engines and traditional SEO not being what it was. If you look at the amount that people spend on paid search and paid advertising every year, that just goes up. So that just becomes an increasingly competitive space every single year. Um, and then if you look at things like we talked about, like the cookieless future that we're all living in, and even things like how difficult it is to get backlinks now from different media outlets and partners, it is becoming very hard for marketers to get the same number of clicks to their website that they used to without having to pay a lot more or put a lot more effort in. And so what I would say to marketers is key is focus on the clicks and the traffic and the eyeballs that you're already bringing in consistently. Invest in conversion, invest in mapping the life cycle of those journeys, and make sure that you're doing everything you can to get as much revenue out of your existing traffic as possible, because traffic acquisition is getting really hard for marketers.
Good one, Greg. And for me, I'd say, as marketers, we've been in the age of gathering data. Now we should be in the age of using that data, right? And using it intelligently and using it in automated fashion as much as you can. So I would say, if you're not already in the AI space, right, start exploring the AI space, especially applied and actionable AI and what that means for you, specific to you and your use cases. If you have a ton of data, you're gathering a ton of data from Google Analytics, from, purchases on your site, from any of these things, right? How are you using it, right? That's going to make your investment in the data warehouse is where you're storing this, all the IT work doing to collect and manage this, it's going to make it all that much more valuable for your organization as a whole. So it's, with all that data, start using that to drive AI, start using that to understand your customers, ideally in an automated way, and then having it, acted upon, right? I mean, it's now's the time to act really as it relates to a lot of this, right? Data's been out there. It's never been easier to get insights from it and insights in an automated way, right? Like I said, you don't have to hire a data scientist anymore. AI will do it for you, right? So I'd say, start, if you haven't already, start exploring AI, understanding it, and then also start saying, how can I make it actionable, right? Greg mentioned examples with Ledo. There's plenty of examples with Sales Monaco where we're using the data we gather to be, take action, right? And to make a marketer's life easier and make their job more effective and more efficient, both in terms of what's being executed, as well as giving them time back to do other things where they want to spend time. So going back to the small and medium-sized business, right? There's no substitute for having more time. So if you can get AI to do certain things for you in an automated fashion as a small or medium-sized business, you're freeing up yourself or other people on your team or in your company to do other work, right? And so that would be my one item, is if you're not doing it, do it. If you're doing it, kind of take that next step forward.
And yes, and regarding the time, I think we are at the very end. I would like to thank you, Michael and Greg, for participation and like sharing this all valid insight that we heard today. And there is possibility to stay with touch in touch with LinkedIn through the QR codes. And I think we covered a lot. We need to for sure take this model into 2025. And with that, I really appreciate the patience and presence for such a long time. Great commitment. Would like to wish you everything best wishes for coming Christmas and winter season. And I think this time will stay with you with the insight that you got from this meeting.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time. Look forward to talking more next year.
Yeah, thanks for joining and happy holidays, everyone.